I've done a 10K in 39, but I feel like with boxing, you're training to be explosive. So we do Box Hill. We run up there and we do the hill sprints up there.
Does it bring out the competition in the gym?
Yeah, mate, definitely, because everyone does it together, so you're racing.
Who's the closest with you with the times and that? Is there anyone you're sort of matching, competing with?
I think Harlem's the best on the hills. Yeah, Harlem beats everyone on the hills. Yeah, and he's a good runner.
So you said you're at Booth Boxing Gym now?
Yeah, plenty of talent in the gym. I've sparred, like, obviously Josh Kelly, Harlem in the gym. Like, they're good names. I'm sparring a lot with Jermaine Brown. He's a great fighter.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
It's a great question. I've always tried not to look too far ahead. I always look at like the next thing and just keep it going, see how far we can take it, mate. So world champion is the dream, but like I say, it's patience and just going step by step.
Enjoying the journey as well.
100%.
Have you had much hate in your career already?
No. I don't think I've it was one of these interviews I've done, and I can't remember who it was. It was Boxing Social, IFL or something. It was just in the gym, and I'd just finished training, and I was sweating like mad. And I had a full gym, everyone watching as well, watching the interview.
Oh, no.
And I was sweating, and I looked at the comments. Everyone's just like, this guy sweats so much. I was laughing my head off. No, it was funny.
The internet always wins.
Always.
Oh, it's tough. Yeah.
Undefeated, mate.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
But then also, I think when you get to the bigger levels and stuff, like that's when the hate comes. And usually it's from people who just wish they were you, really. You know.
Yeah.
You'll never get hate from someone that's above you.
True.
Never.
No, that is true.
Yeah.
Definitely. I find it funny, to be honest. Like, just the little bits that I've had, like the little bits of negativity that I've had at the moment, I just look and laugh, mate. It is comical.
It's a good mindset to have.
Yeah.
So you've been so active. You've had 7 pro fights in what space of time?
Since last February, yeah. So
that's a lot.
it's a lot, but that's what I wanted. I wanted to have 7 in the first year. I think a few people laugh when I said that because they know how boxing can be sometimes. Like, things don't always go to plan. But yeah, I was happy with 5 in my first year as a pro. Had a couple more this year.
Obviously, once you step up to the 10 rounds, there's not really going back in your career.
No.
So obviously it'll be 10, 12 rounders. And you're already ranked, since you only just turned pro last year, you're already ranked, what, on BoxRec? Like 15th or something?
Yeah, I went up to 15th after my last fight, which I was happy with. It's nice to see. Like, that's what I like about the pros, is you've got that proper ranking. You can see the ladder. You can see like where you're at and where you got to go to. Who's above you, who's below you, who you got to be better than. Yeah, like it's nice to see.
Who's on your watch list at the moment in the domestic scene?
Everyone.
Everyone, yeah.
Everyone who's above me, I'm coming for them, 100%.
So obviously you said you're at Booth Boxing Gym now.
Yeah.
And who's been your main sparring partners there? Are you around all the talent that's in the gym regularly?
Yeah, plenty of talent in the gym. I've sparred, like, obviously Josh Kelly, Harlem in the gym. Like, they're good names. I'm sparring a lot with Jermaine Brown. He's a great fighter and great for me as well in prep for this fight. Taller fighter and working on all the things I need to be doing. Yeah.
And obviously every camp, like you said earlier, is cliche. Every camp's always going to be better and better and better. From when you turned pro to now, have you seen, is it like night and day with the improvements?
Yeah, definitely. Like, each camp gets better. You know what I'm saying? You learn from the previous. So, this camp's been different to others as well because, like I say, you take things from old previous camps. But, this one's been my best, and I'm looking forward to showing that. Definitely.
So you started boxing, you said, quite late, right? At 16?
Yeah, 16. Yeah, which sounds like, obviously you're young, 16-year-old's young, but in terms of boxing, it's quite late. Yeah, started fairly late, but sort of just fell upon it, if you know what I mean. Just fell into it and took to it like a duck to water. So.
And what gym was that?
That was, they were Battlebridge at the time, Battlebridge Boxing Club. Now they're called Britannia. But yeah, that was my first club, so thank you to all the coaches there. But I was there for about 3 or 4 years. Won the Haringey Cup with them. National finals and things like that. Yeah, it was a good club for me.
My name is Dennis McCann, professional boxer for Frank Moore and MTK Global. This is Fortress Boxing. A lot more protection. It's a no-brainer. Around your thumbs, around your knuckles, around my wrist. That's exactly where I have the problems at. They're very compact, so I feel like I'm punching hard with them on as well. And I feel like when you got sparring 14, 16 ounce gloves, the smaller wraps can't really, they're too small for the gloves, that makes sense. So these are a bit bigger and they're getting the gloves a bit more, they make them more compact.
Obviously, you first stepped foot in the gym and it was a bit of fun, and it's just, you overwhelmed with the world of boxing, really, as a novice. How long did it take for you to start really getting your steed, starting to get into the nationals?
I think I didn't have my first fight, was about a year into boxing. So, like, a lot of amateur coaches are brave and they throw kids in there early, because obviously that is how you learn. You do learn from your bouts and that. But, yeah, my coach was sort of waiting till I was ready, and then had my first one after about a year, and they threw the towel in after about a minute. So I was definitely ready, because it was both of our first fights. But I remember it vividly, like proper experience. That first one it's funny because I had the fight, and before the fight I was pacing up and down, like nervous, obviously anticipating what's going on. I was excited as well, but like, yeah, you are a bit tense, and then everyone says the nerves are going to get to you. Like, you'll feel it in your legs and everything. And I thought, bollocks to that. Never. Got in there, threw absolute windmills for the first minute. Luckily, a few of them caught him. And, I was standing in the neutral corner. He was getting a standing count. And I could not feel my legs underneath. It had been a minute. I was thinking, I've got a couple more rounds of this. I've not got it in the tank. And the towel come in. I thought, fucking hell, thank God. Thank God, mate. Yeah, no, I was happy.
That's such a similar story to so many people, including myself. My leg, walking into the ring, like it was just, they were gone, overtrained, like everything. The adrenaline's there, but your body's just like not wanting to move. Nah. Yeah, it's a great feeling. And after that first bout, then what improvements did you make? You must have suddenly realised, wow. So I thought I was fit.
Yeah,
I've just been fighting for only a minute, and thank God they threw the towel in.
Yeah. No, do you know what? I did put all of it down to nerves, because I was one of the fittest in the gym. Like, I always trained 100%. So I knew it weren't fitness. I knew it was something else. And then you sort of learn how to channel your nerves better and then control it all a little bit better. So
how do you do that?
Now I just know that nerves ain't a negative. Nerves is excitement. You're just like, that's what you're just getting ready for what's to come. So when you learn that nerves aren't the enemy, I feel like that really helps, and you can just use it as a bit of a fuel.
And what would you say was the toughest fight in the amateurs for you?
I've had plenty of tough fights. I had 40 fights as an amateur, but none of them really stood out to me as like, God, this one was a lot tougher than the last. But I don't know, just like you learn from the different, like you have different styles in front of you. Like I've had some real awkward opponents, some like, do you know what I mean? And I've had hard hitting opponents. I remember the first time I got properly buzzed in a fight. I can't remember the kid's name, but he caught me with a shot that I didn't see, and then I was still standing and still boxing. Obviously, like, didn't knock me down, but I couldn't see nothing for a good couple of seconds. I was just covering up and hoping that none got through, and then my vision came back, and I thought, all right, okay, now we're all right. But yeah, mad experience. But it's all learning.
It's one of the sports where you need to pretend you're fine. Everything's a poker face, and like you said, you're just literally masking it. And you also hope the ref's not going to give you an 8 count as well. Yeah. You stand there with your guard up, trying to look, and deep down you can't see a thing.
That's it, mate. Yeah, no, that's how I was feeling, just seeing stars. But it came back quick, and then managed to recover all right. And won the fight. Yeah, that was good.
Nice. It sounds like you've obviously had the perfect amateur pedigree, and also you've not done too much. You see a lot of guys have a great amateur career, do probably a bit too much, turn pro late, and then they've got a lot of wear and tear, injuries, they might have whatever going on. It sounds like 40 fights, you've had all the styles. It was probably a good time for you to turn over. Yeah, no,
obviously within that amateur career, I've had 2 years doing nothing. Obviously COVID was there. Gyms were shut and things like that, which was a nightmare. But I held out for COVID and then had one more after. And then, turned over straight after that, because I was thinking I've wasted enough time doing nothing with COVID for 2 years. But and also I'd had 39 fights. I wanted to make it a round number and get to 40. So that's what I did. Yeah, but I had a good sort of mix of styles, like you say, and like I've boxed at different weights in the amateurs. I boxed down at 64 kilo, 69 kilo, and all those little experiences, you sort of learn where you fit in at, like where's best for you, where you feel the strongest. All those little things are good to get out of the way, where it doesn't really matter too much in the amateurs before you go into the paid ranks.
100%. What would you say were the biggest things that you learned then? Obviously, like you said, about managing weight.
Yeah.
Is there anything that, if anyone's listening, that is an amateur boxer, any recommendations you would say?
I'd say just, the weight massively, that's it. That's like a huge factor. You want to fight where you're strong. You don't want to be ripping yourself too far down because it's counterproductive. Like, you might think, well, I'm going to be bigger. You've only got about 3 or 4 hours before you're fighting. I remember I've got on the scales once, bang on 64 kilo. This was when I was boxing at Earlsfield. But I'd stripped down, and this is without, I didn't know what I knew now about nutrition and making the weight and the things you can do to sort of help you out in that way, get rid of a bit more water. I was doing it the hard way, just sweating out and like still eating the wrong things. I was bang on 64, and I remember I was first on as well. Got in the ring, I felt horrendous. I felt weak, flat, everything, and you're meant to go and have a fight in that state. So that's one of the biggest things I'd say would be fight where you feel good. That's massive. Worry about cutting weight when you got the day before weigh-ins in the pros. Do all that later.
Yeah, I think weight's such like so many coaches always want to get you down, have that advantage. But like you said, and to fully rehydrate, there's studies coming out now. It can take up to 48 hours.
Yeah,
up to 48. So obviously, like the weight cuts they have in the UFC, some of them are still going in anyway, worse for wear. I think boxing's lucky not as bad, right? Like, I'm sure you're not killing yourself to make weight, are you? At 147.
No, I'm not killing myself. Like, don't get me wrong. I've got a tough week coming up. Obviously, final week of camp, like, is just making the weight, and that's going to be a tough week for me. But with my nutritionist, like, shout out to Track Nutrition, they help me out and keep me in good nick, and keep everything where it should be. So the hard work's done for me. Like, if I didn't have them on board, I'd probably find it a lot more difficult. Where if I was thinking, oh, what's my next meal? Like, what's going to keep me on track? Like, so I'm lucky with that. But I'm not walking around like some of these people walk around 20 pounds, like 20 pounds above their championship weight. I'm not one of those people, because I don't believe in killing yourself to make the weight, because it's counterproductive.
Yeah. What was life like growing up for you?
What was life like?
Did you have a pretty good upbringing before?
Mate. Yeah, no, I'm lucky. I've been lucky growing up. I've had a great upbringing. Yeah. I can't really comment too much on that, to be fair. I've had it quite smooth. Just thankful that I've had it, because not everyone does. So
So you were saying off air, you obviously went to college, did a few bits, and just nothing was really for you.
Yeah.
What brought you to thinking boxing's everything? At what point?
So it weren't like an overnight thing. I started boxing just to keep fit when I stopped football, because I played football for most of my life.
At a good level?
No, not really.
Just like Sunday League stuff.
League, Sunday League. Like, could have been okay, but that's at a push. Do you know what I'm saying? So I knew I didn't have a future in football. So I thought, let's start something different for keep me fit, because I thought I was fit playing football. Went to boxing, had the shock of my life. Yeah, but I started boxing, and when I started, I was like, this feels quite natural for me. Like, I felt decent, and just one thing leads you sparring, and then once you do well in the sparring, you're thinking, when am I fighting? And then it was probably before I had my first fight where I was like, I could potentially do well in this sport, and then it's just been sort of going from there.
Linear. And obviously over the years you've had all the extras come in. So have you got a physio?
No, I haven't got a physio.
Okay.
No.
So obviously, like, throughout the years, you said you got a nutritionist now.
Yeah.
You started off with Kevin Mitchell. Mm-hmm. What type of things did you learn on this route?
It is about building a team around you. Like, definitely. Like, everyone likes the idea of saying, I do it all on my own, but you can't really. You need good people around you, and I'm lucky to have that. And not even just in terms of like physio, nutritionist, and strength and conditioning and all of that. Like, I've got great support around me in terms of my friends, my family. Like I'm very blessed in that way. So yeah, always grateful for that. But yeah, that's what it's about, building, like having people around you that all want the same thing. Everyone wants the same thing, and you're all driving to get there. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a nice idea. Yeah, I'll just do it on my own, but don't think it's that realistic.
Yeah, I couldn't put it better myself. Like, even though it's a solo sport and it's only you in the ring, if you haven't got the support network around you, you will never make it in the sport. No. And how have you found, obviously, you've been on so many like sort of fairly small hall shows and everything. You've got your big title fight coming up.
Yeah.
How have you found like selling tickets and the stress of like maybe opponents pulling out and things?
Yeah.
Has that affected the training and the mindset, or have you just sort of rolled with the punches?
Yeah, roll with the punches, yeah, if you pardon the pun. But no, just tickets, I can't stress, is like that's the biggest weight that's on your shoulders, is like how many tickets you're going to sell. Because that's how you sort of get by, like earn your money. And how it is, there's no money in these small hall shows to start out with. But like, we all know that before we sign up. I've never expected to earn any real money out of boxing in the first however long, like first little while. But yeah, like one camp pays for the next. That's how it goes. So you got to keep selling the tickets to keep the ball rolling with everything. But I'm lucky to have the sponsors I've got around me as well. I've got good people on board in that way as well. So
who are they?
I've got Walton Landscape Supplies, which are just they're like aggregate supply and things like that. I've got HG Pro. I've got AAA Roofs, Pretorius Electrical Services. I've got Lavish Labels, Personal Shopper and things like that. So yeah, I've got good support in that way as well, and they are the difference. If I was having to work full time, and work full time, train full time, like you can't have two full time jobs. Do you know what I mean? So I'm lucky. I haven't got the burden of working a 9 to 5. Trying to fit my training and my recovery and my nutrition and everything into like that small little window that I'd have left of the day. I've got the entire day. Like I do a few PTs like 1-to-1 at my house. So I've got a gym. I've got a gym at my house.
Oh, nice.
Which we actually built. Yeah, me and my.
During COVID?
No, this was a while before, years back. And this is a thank you to him as well. Big thank you to Anthony McDonald and Christian McDonald, all of those guys, because they helped me build a gym in my garden. Like they lent me all the money for the materials and everything, didn't charge me nothing to build it with me. And then he was my boss at the time, and he just let me off the money, half the money. And I nearly cried on the phone to him. I rang him up one day. I said, just letting you know that I'm just paying back this much. And he was like, all right, sweet mate. He was like, Alf, don't worry, don't pay me back the rest. I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, don't worry about it, because the whole bill comes to like a good few grand, best part of 10 grand. And he said, yeah, don't worry about that.
Wow.
Yeah, and HG Pro as well. Shout out to, he was there as well on the weekends, evenings, getting dark, winter nights. They all just helped me build this gym. And that's what I mean. I've always had good support around me. So very lucky and very thankful, yeah.
And obviously you'll be returning the favour in a few years anyway.
One day I'd love to, yeah, that's the dream. Yeah, 100%. Also to my dad for letting us build the gym in the garden. That probably weren't ideal for him at the time, but yeah.
So were your family into boxing before you started, or have they sort of picked it up after?
So my dad's always loved boxing. Always been a massive fan, but he used to watch it on the telly and I was like, turn this off, I ain't really that interested. But this is when I was football mad. And then nowadays, I'm like flat out with it. You know what I mean? It's funny how it goes. But yeah, he used to go, because I used to watch him like, they're not doing nothing. Like no one's getting knocked out. Yeah. But,
so that's still like most people now, really.
Yeah, 100%. And I criticise people for that now. Like the casual fans just want to see a knockout. But it's the nature of the sport, isn't it?
But also, like, when you see a knockout in real life, it's not all glamorous. Like, that's someone's health. Like, it is great. You get the highlight reels, you get all that come with it.
Yeah.
But for people that don't understand the fight game, the repercussions, life after boxing, like, a knockout is severe. Like, I've been at some amateur shows with, like, heavyweights and all sorts. You see someone laying out there cold. And it's not nice. Everyone wants to cheer it on, and it's a little bit primal in a way. But like when you do witness it, obviously you've seen so many over your career and everything. When you do witness it, this is just my opinion anyway. It's not all it's cracked up to be. When you see a man like like the humility when there's two people in a ring, especially when you get to the good stages. You know, at some point in your career, you're going to have real 50-50 fights against really, really good guys. And it's like you're putting it all on the line, and people don't understand what goes into it.
No, not at all.
At all.
Not at all. And like, yeah, it's very easy to be like, oh yeah, I want to see a knockout tonight. Like, yeah, like they don't know the half of it. Like, definitely not. And it's also like, you see a knockout, like on the TV or something, you watch it go quite like, you admire the knockout, whatever, great shot or whatever, and then no one really, like, that's the last you think about it. Do you know what I mean? You might watch it back a few times, and then no one's thinking like, what's that fighter's health like his family around him, all the people around him, like worried for it, like someone's health, like you say. I remember when I was in the amateurs, I didn't have many knockouts as an amateur. I had a couple, but like the first time I did knock someone out, I remember I was a bit like taken aback by it because I expected to stop the fella, like, but I thought I'd stop him to the body or something. But I've hit him with a right hand, and I don't think I'll land a better shot in my life, to be honest. Like, it landed perfect, and and he's gone down, but he stayed down for quite a while, and I was standing in the neutral corner, and I was thinking, I'm getting a bit worried myself now because like of course you want to win, and you'll do anything to win. Like, it's by any means necessary, really, because that's, like I say, that's the nature of the sport. But yeah, I remember being in the neutral corner and thinking, I'm getting a bit worried for this fella's health now, because he was still not moving for a good minute. But yeah, it definitely shocks you. But and then that's another thing you learn in the amateurs now. It's just I know what to expect and things like that. So
yeah. Well, the beauty of social media, at least, when like nowadays, even for yourself as a up and coming pro, you can post everything on Instagram, like your training. You've got such a good support network that if you wasn't signed with Matchroom or Top Rank 10, 15 years ago, you would never even have the exposure.
No.
And what do you think about the power of social media? Would you say it's a game changer in the sport?
Yeah, I say it's got its positives and its negatives. To be fair, like, I feel like it takes away from like the actual skill of the sport, if you know what I mean, because I feel like a big promoter would overlook someone's talent for a big ticket seller. Do you know what I mean? So there would be, if you got two fighters, one that's like a decent fighter with potential of going somewhere, or you've got someone who can sell a couple of thousand tickets, like 9 times out of 10, I feel like they'll go for the ticket seller just because they know that puts money in their pocket. And
I can think of a few names right now.
Yeah, yeah, I bet. But yeah, like I say, social media is a big part of that. If I had 100,000 followers on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, just from doing stupid social media stunts, I'd most likely get signed by someone decent, like by one of these big promoters, because of that following. Whereas before, everyone's on a level playing field. It's just like how good you are at boxing. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just social media following and things like that. So that's what I don't like about it. But like you say, it is good in the way that people who aren't on a platform, they can push it and they do their own promoting. Like, they get themselves out there, which is quite good. I do like that about it.
Mm-hmm. And do you watch much MMA? Is that a big part or not really?
I float in and out of it, to be fair. Like, I didn't really watch any of it until Conor McGregor, but I feel like that's the same for a lot of people. Definitely grew the sport. I started following it a little bit more, but these days I haven't really been on it as much.
Have you sparred any MMA fighters?
No,
Anyone
I've
comes
not.
in for striking?
No, I've not, to be fair. I've always been interested to see what it'd be like, though.
Because, without me talking like any smack, there's so many world champions in MMA, in the UFC or whatever, that can't really throw any punches. No. And when you got 4-ounce gloves, I know obviously there's kicks and everything else involved, but I think boxers transitioning, because it's always the other way around, isn't it? You got like ex-MMA guys coming to boxing. Yeah. I reckon certain boxers would do really good in MMA if they learnt takedown defence and a couple extra bits over a few years. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. All fights start standing up, don't they? So
exactly.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you there.
Have you ever seen Max Holloway fight?
Yeah. Oh,
I can't remember what it was, but he threw something like 800 punches.
It's madness.
Insane. Like, that reminds me, what would you say is one of your favourite fights in boxing? Is there anything that hypes you? Like, I posted the Gatti Ward trilogy yesterday. Is there any fights that you watch that gets you a little bit buzzed?
Hagler Hands. Yeah, that one that jumps out at me straight away, yeah. Yeah, huge. Yeah,
Massive.
that one, yeah, that you never see a first round like it, will you?
And who would you say is sort of like a role model growing up? Was there any boxers you watched that you just sort of studied and looked up to?
Like I say, like I wasn't really mad about boxing before I started doing it myself. I really started to appreciate the sport. So as a kid,
Or
wasn't
even when you're
many.
like sort of 16, 17?
Yeah,
Was there
so
anyone?
like Floyd Mayweather, I was mad about him because like all he did was win. That's what that's what I wanted to do. So yeah, I liked Mayweather. Like more recently, Canelo. I'm a huge Canelo fan. He's a great fighter.
It's a bit weird that he's fighting the wrong Charlo.
Yeah.
How's that come around?
Nah, no idea, mate.
Yeah.
No idea.
It's
Mate,
mad.
it is politics, innit? That's boxing is. It's a shame that it's like that, but that's
He
all
can,
it
he
is.
can do what he wants.
Yeah, no, he's earned that right, I'd say. I wouldn't even say he's ducking anyone. Like you can't say Canelo's that type of character. Like to go up and do what he's done in different weights is crazy. Like he's got some bottle in he.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way he fights, a lot of people, casuals, will see, oh, he's losing. Like, same with when he fought, like, Amir Khan, Billy Joe Saunders, or whatever. But you know full well with Canelo, he's waiting.
Yeah.
It's the same with Tank, you know? He's like, he throws the least amount of punches, but he's clinical.
Yeah.
He's getting his rate. Like, he's so smart. I don't even know what goes through the bloke's head. But, like, these fighters, they're so special for that.
Yeah.
So special.
Mate, so and it's like to have that confidence in their own ability, like to not feel the pressure of the rounds ticking by, and they know they're not winning the rounds, but they're just waiting, like you say. It's that like inevitability that they're gonna get to you, and they know that as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what's like. Yeah, you can really admire that. There's
Who's
quality.
been the hardest puncher that you fought? Is there anyone where you've been like, all right, I'm boxing and moving?
No, not really. To be fair, my but yeah, like not really a standout hardest puncher, but I can't remember who it was. Berman Sanchez, his name. He boxes on the road. Like I thought, he had a few. He fought Linares as well. So he's a decent name, and he had a load of knockouts on his record. But this was that lighter weights and stuff, and he was boxing on the road. So I knew what he was there to do anyway when it comes to fighting me. But like we clashed heads at the end of a round, but I didn't see that it was his head. I thought he's hit me with something there. I thought it was a backhand or something. I didn't see the shot, but it was his head. And I was thinking, what the fuck was that? And do you know what I mean?
Which one of y'all hit me?
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, but he's coming with his head. I'm thinking, fuck me, yeah, this geezer can bang. Mm-hmm. Went back to the corner, sat in the stall, and they were like, yeah, you clashed heads bad. Then I thought, thank fuck for that. I thought that was his hand. Because straight away after that, I was thinking, shit, man, I'm going to have to switch on it.
Did you get cut?
Yeah, but no, luckily I didn't get cut. But
That's
yeah,
good.
His head went straight into like my cheekbone, and I was thinking, Christ, sitting with a right hand there.
I've never really taken a headbutt. What did it feel like then? Just sort of
Yeah, no, it's just that
a weird feeling.
honestly, like a bit of concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah, like someone's just smashed you in the head with a bit of concrete, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Proper, yeah, no, I felt it. And because I was like, fuck's sake, I've got a long night here. I mean, it was only about the second round or so. But yeah, no, it's funny. But again, yeah, relieved it was his head and not his hand. No, it's funny.
So this is going to be after Spence Crawford, and we were talking about it earlier, but we weren't rolling.
Yeah.
What's your predictions on Spence versus Crawford?
Yeah, I think activity level is the main factor, to be fair, because as fighters, it's hard to split them. They're both like at the top of their game, both special fighters. Yeah, I think with Crawford's activity level, I think he will nick it from Spence. Also, I think his boxing IQ is just different. Yeah, he's a very smart fighter. He really can do it all. There's nothing he can't do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so.
Do you think he can take the power of Spence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Because I think he's smart enough to not be there for it. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a very talented fighter.
Virgil Ortiz pulled out again.
Yeah.
What's your view on that? Do you think he needs to move up in weight or? I think it's like the second or third time.
Yeah, I'm not sure, mate. To be honest with you, I don't know what's going on. Going on?
Do you not know much about?
No, I don't really know. Like, I haven't been following it too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, when I had Mikey on, he was saying the punch that did him was a punch to the hip.
Really?
As well.
Oh yeah,
Like
I've been hitting the hip, and it's not nice. No, definitely not.
What does it do then? Like, does it just sort of disable your movement
yeah,
a bit?
stop your moving. Like proper, like that leg's gone for a couple of rounds. Yeah, that's weird. But it's a little Mexican tactic, innit? Yeah.
Have you learned any pro tactics? Any little things that is different from the amateurs, like punching in certain areas, or?
I just feel like you punch with more intent in the pros. Like you actually know, like you are punching to do a bit of damage. Obviously, that is what you're trying to do in there, trying to win the fight, and they'll do it to you if they could. So yeah, you are punching with more intent in the pros, definitely. You do learn a few dirty tricks in that on the blind side of the ref without getting caught out. But yeah, just nothing really like to do with areas, but like that punching in the hip though, that was one that I think Kevin told me that one. Yeah, but
Save that for Saturday night.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, you want to be careful. But yeah, nothing real. No, nothing specific.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
It's a great question. Like I've always tried not to look too far ahead. I always look at like the next thing and just keep climbing the ladder, because obviously it's good to have an end goal in mind. But I just want to keep climbing the ladder, just step by step, mate. So like Southern area, and then I'll be looking to the English, and then I'm sure I'll be looking to defend that and go to the British, like, and just keep it going, see how far we can take it, mate. But I do see myself, like that's where I've set my sights, is the top of the sport. So world champion is the dream. Yeah, but like I say, it's patience and just going step by step.
Enjoying the journey as well.
100%, definitely.
And you're at the right gym. Like, obviously, Booth Boxing Gym, like, the coaches are brilliant. You've got all the talent around you. You probably travel for decent sparring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're in the right place.
Yeah, no, it's a great environment to be in as well. It's somewhere that isn't too, like, we mix in with, like, just keep fitters and stuff now and then. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they're in and about the gym, which is good. Yeah, I feel like it's a better environment for learning. Like, it's nice. You can
have a bit more fun as well, right?
Sort of, yeah. It's more like you're not really worried about making a mistake. Do you know what I mean? The environment's not too tense where you're like, oh, I've got everyone watching me. I can't do this, can't do that. Like, that's how we learn in the sport. We've got to make mistakes, otherwise we wouldn't learn nothing.
Yeah, so people don't realise failure is a big part of success.
Yeah.
Like, the stepping stones of everything that you've ever done. Yeah, and again, the pro game's so difficult because you've got to learn on the job. That's why someone like Anthony Joshua, that's had to learn on the job as a world champion throughout his career, people don't realise when he started at 18 and he relied on his just power and athleticism. For someone like him to learn boxing against fighters that have done it their whole lives, it's incredible. Yeah,
he's done very well, very well. But saying that, I almost think he'd do better to go back to his athleticism. Do you know what I mean? Like those raw things that sort of got him to where he's at.
Yeah.
Like, because he is just absolute specimen, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Like he can bang. He's fast. Do you know what I'm saying? Almost said he was fit then, but I don't know about that. No, I'm joking.
You can say what you want, mate.
No, I'm joking.
So, but what's your opinion on him against White in the rematch? Same again, or?
I feel like if there's a time that White can beat AJ, it's now. Do you see what I mean? Like, I feel like he could beat him now. I'm gonna go with White. I'm gonna go with White. Yeah, I'm gonna go with him.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the only thing with that is I'm saying that White's been in some ridiculously tough fights, and I feel like physically it may have taken his toll on him a little bit. But yeah, I could see White doing it, definitely.
Yeah, well, in their first fight, they were both up and coming, and now they've sort of both been at the world level, and now they're obviously clashing again. So I think it's going to be a better standard. It's closer than people think. A lot of people have already written White off. The amount of people that already just think, oh, it's going to be the same again. Joshua will knock him out. People forget about that hook that stunned Joshua, and this was before Joshua was ever knocked out.
Yeah, I was at that fight as well.
Yeah,
I went to that.
You were there, were you?
Yeah. That was a good night. But yeah, it was madness. It was a madness of a fight, like crazy. But yeah, I remember when AJ got hurt, and everyone was like, didn't think that could happen. Do you know what I mean? But no, it was good. It was good to see. Good fight.
Yeah, and obviously after that, when everyone saw he got hit in the side of the head with Ruiz and everything else, like those punches, anyone's going down. People forget, like, taking a shot to the equilibrium from a heavyweight. Yeah. Like, anyone's going down.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of these heavyweights, they knock out a horse, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Roberto Duran didn't he? Did you ever? Yeah, there was. I read his book, and apparently someone he was drunk on a night out in Panama, and someone said, I'll give you, it was like 50p or something, the equivalent, to go knock out the horse, and he just, landed a hook, knocked out the horse. Yeah.
You know?
I hope it's true. It was in his book, so it's got to be. It's
got to be. You've said it now, so it's got to be true.
It's out there. Yeah,
it's out there for the world to know. Yeah.
So obviously you've got a family now. Like you got your 3-year-old. What's your motivation every day to be a better version of yourself? Has it changed over the years?
100%. Yeah. Lately it's obviously really sunk in. Like I've got a huge responsibility with her. Like I want to show her that. Like I've said it in podcasts recently, like I want to show that she can do whatever she wants in life. Like it's not just, you just go with what everyone else is doing. Like really go for it. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what I'm doing. And like I say, I'm lucky enough to have the support around me to do it. Not everyone's got that. But yeah, I really want to show her that she can do whatever she wants in life. I really want her to believe in herself as well. Like these are all the little things that before you're a dad, you don't really think about. Mm-hmm. But like, I want, and also obviously outside of that, I want to provide a great life for her. If I could give her like a few holidays a year and things like that, but a nice roof over her head and have us living in a nice house in a nice area, mate, that would be an absolute dream for me. And to get that from boxing would be even better. Yeah, so that's what I'm going for.
Would you want her boxing?
No.
No, definitely not.
Absolutely not, mate. No way. No, boxing's a rough sport, so. Especially a little girl, like she's like my little princess, mate. You know what I mean? I'm a little angel. I couldn't see her in the ring, mate. No, it'd be tough.
What's your biggest drive? What things you do when you're deep into camp and it's the last week and you don't want to get out of bed and go on the run? What is it that gets you out of bed? Is it your vision of fight night and being opposite someone that's trying to knock you out?
Yeah.
What is the mindset that makes you work so hard?
Yeah, I think it is that as well, and I like that I'm doing something that not everyone can do. Do you know what I mean? Boxing's not for everyone, and that sort of drives me on. Like, obviously, little one as well. For Milo, I definitely want to just like think about her, and I'm like, right, what the fuck am I doing? Do you know what I mean? What am I trying to stay in bed another 10 minutes? Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that definitely gets me out of bed in the morning. Obviously, like the glory of it all as well, like that. There's if you haven't experienced it, it's really hard to explain. Like that feeling when you've put yourself through a tough camp and you get your hand raised at the end, and then you got everyone coming up to you saying, "Oh, that was unreal, well done, mate." Like that's nice, mate. I can't lie. I do enjoy that and that moment. And it's also like I said, the long-term goal as well. It's just, mate, yeah, everything really. Nothing really. There's not one place I go to in my mind which gets me out of bed because I've been doing it so long now. It's just what we do. Do you know what I mean? It's just part of it. Like just get up and do it. Like try not to. If you stop and think about it, you'd stop. You'd stay there. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any camps abroad? Have you ever sort of like travelled for anything?
Not yet. Marbella's looking tempting though for a little hot weather training camp now, I can't lie.
Everyone's going to obviously Marbella or Dubai and it looks amazing, like the facilities look good, it's a change of scenery, you can be away from everything. And also, where's all the mountains that Billy Joe and Fury go at? Is it like Fuerteventura or something?
Yeah, I think it is, I think it is.
Does that appeal to you for a camp at some point?
Do you know what as well? Like, I'm sure it wouldn't be an easy camp, but like I wouldn't want it to be too comfy. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather travel somewhere freezing cold. Do you know what I mean? Out in the mountains that way, like tough training camp. Like I don't know if I'd be able to, like mentally, I don't know if it would prepare me well enough to just be doing your training and then just sitting by the pool. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And sunbathing and things like that. I think that'd be too comfy. Yeah. I think I'd have to go somewhere.
Is it like, it's called Big Bear?
Yeah,
something like that, like Golovkin style, up in the mountains, cold. Well, because even when David Hay fought Bellew, he was like, we met him when we was in Miami, and like the whole time he was just like posing like on boats and and it's like, even though it's the end of his career, if he maybe like you're saying, if he tucked himself in a dark place like Tony Bellew was doing, would he have performed better? Most probably.
I'd say
being a bit too comfortable, but then also he was at the end of his career, and you got to enjoy the fruits of your labour. And
True. Yeah, definitely. You've earned it at that point, but it's where you want to go from there, isn't it?
What's your fastest times with running?
5K. It's not that fast, but it's pretty good. It's I think I've done it 18:33 was one of my times. Yeah, that was my fastest. I've done a 10K in 39. I think 39 something, which weren't too bad. But I think I could beat those. But I feel like with boxing, you're training to be explosive. So like, I don't know if the sort of like 80-90% of your max is like that helpful in terms of like building that explosiveness. I feel like you'd be better to be like steady, like in your long runs, and then your sprints, you got to hit them flat out. Do you see what I mean?
So what do you do for your sprints?
So we do Box Hill. We run up there and we do the hill sprints up there. And I do a fair few treadmill sprints as well. So
Can you explain the Box Hill sprints? What you get up to?
Yeah, so the Box Hills, we start at the top and we're up and down. There's a set of stairs which absolutely writes you off about a couple of K into the run. I think it works out about 10K in total, but yeah, 2 or 3K into it, you're hitting these stairs and you feel like you've got nothing left to give by the time you get to the top of these stairs, and then your blood comes back sort of thing to your head and you start thinking straight again. And then, towards the end of the run, you got a long hill, like a very long, steady hill. That you do that one just nice and steady. You get to the top, do a few exercises and things like that at the top, and then you have a nice walk down. You get to the next hill, a little short one, and that's the ones that we hit our hill sprints on. And it's about, I don't know distance wise, but it take like a decent time. Take us like 28 seconds, 29 seconds is a decent time up that hill, and we do that 4 or 5 times and go flat out. Yeah.
Are you trying to always hit the same time or better every time? Obviously.
Yeah, so shout out to Fozzie at the gym. So he's keeping all our times on a stopwatch, and he's going, we want this time on these runs, and you're thinking, oh, fuck off.
Does it bring out the competition in the gym?
Yeah, mate, definitely, because everyone does it together. So you're racing, and if you know you've got that person just in front of you, you're chasing them, and he definitely gets like an extra 1% out of you. So it's healthy. That's good.
Who's the closest with you with the times and that? Is there anyone you're sort of matching, competing with usually?
I think Harlem's the best on the hills. Yeah, Harlem beats everyone on the hills. Yeah, and he's a good runner.
I don't know where they were, but he was doing some crazy hill runs with Mick Conlon somewhere. Yeah, I think there was abroad somewhere.
Oh, right, yeah.
But that looked insane.
I think Mick's good on the hill. I haven't done it with Mick yet, but I think Mick's good on the hill as well.
Yeah, Mick is the most unluckiest person when it comes to some of his fights recently.
Yeah.
Out of all the boxers, I think he's definitely going to be a world champion at some point, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
But,
definitely.
his fight with Lee Wood. Were you there for that?
No, I weren't. No. I weren't at the gym at that time. I hadn't moved gyms yet. But crazy fight.
Yeah, that was insane. Like, obviously, I saw an interview with Mick after, and everyone was like, "Why don't you just get off the ropes or move your head?" It's like, if only it was easy as that in the last round.
Oh, mate, everyone's so quick to criticise and just give their advice from their armchair, mate. It's laughable, isn't it?
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, Alfie, it's been great having you on.
Thank you for having me.
That's all right. I look forward to, we'll chat in a couple of years, and we'll see where you're at in the sport, and all the best, mate.
Thank you, mate. Cheers.